quarterback's best friend on the football field is a reliable running game that can not only take pressure off a said quarterback, but can make things a lot easier for not only the quarterback and the offense, but can also provide a whole lot of balance. In regards to another premium position on a football field, cornerback. A cornerback's best friend on the football field is a reliable pass rush, a consistent pass rush that can not only make the cornerback's job a lot easier in covering pass catchers, wide receivers, and tight ends, but a pass rush that can also disrupt timing between a quarterback and his pass catchers, and a pass rush that can make a quarterback's life a lot more difficult. I think a close second as far as a cornerback's best friend on the football field will be a reliable group of cornerbacks around said cornerback. Miraculously, the best cornerback in the NFL that you have never heard of, the Seattle Seahawks' DJ Reed, didn't have either with the Seattle Seahawks this past season. That was further evident by the fact that the Seattle Seahawks defense finished 25th in the NFL in takeaways with a measly 18 in 17 games played. Not only that, the Seattle Seahawks tied for 22nd in the National Football League in sacks with 34. A year after finishing top 10 in the NFL with 40-plus sacks, the pass rush came back down to earth and didn't provide a whole lot despite the expectations entering the season. And so DJ Reed didn't have a reliable pass rush, didn't have a reliable group of cornerbacks opposite or aside from him all throughout the year, and he was still able to turn in performance that rivaled some of the cornerbacks that finished as all-pros in the National Football League. I'm talking about Aj Terrell, Trevon Diggs, J.C. Jackson, Jalen Ramsey. But don't get it twisted. I'm not going to sit here and say that DJ Reed is on the level of those cornerbacks. He's not a true shutdown cornerback just yet. What I am here to tell you is that he's the best cornerback in the NFL that you have never heard of, and why the Seattle Seahawks will be absolutely foolish not to re-sign this man entering free agency beginning next month. But before we dive in, if you guys haven't already, please show us some love. Hit that subscribe button. I know we just hit 3K, but the next goal is to hit 4K. So if you guys can continue to help us on our journey, we'll greatly appreciate it. And we've also been working very diligently on both our Instagram and Twitter pages. And so for further updates in the sports world, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Steezy Smith. Now, without further ado, let's hop right in, shall we?
Here comes the y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the.
Keep in mind, DJ Reed plays for the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seattle Seahawks are located in the Pacific Northwest. Now, if the news isn't revolving around Russell Wilson or Damian Lillard, chances are you're going to fly under the radar, and DJ Reed just so happens to be a victim of that. And look, I'm going to talk about Seattle and why they have to bring him back, and why he's their most sought-after free agent this offseason. First of all, the Seahawks have anywhere in the range of $36 million to $50 million in cap space, according to various media outlets over the cap, Spotrac. The number is kind of in limbo. I haven't really seen a consistent number. I've seen 36 million, 38 million, 40 million, 42 million, 50 million. And so that's not really the focus here. I think the biggest thing to focus on is the fact that Seattle has loads of cap space, and at the end of the day, Seattle is anywhere from top 5 to top 10 in the NFL in terms of highest amount of cap space available, meaning they should have plenty of money to re-sign a DJ Reed. Again, like I alluded to in the beginning, DJ Reed is not on the level of these cornerbacks, but if we're just going to judge it solely off of this past season, the 2021-2022 NFL season, his season rivaled some of those guys, and for him to not to get any sort of Pro Bowl love, All-Pro love, any sort of recognition, that is absolutely criminal. Keep in mind, he was the only Seattle Seahawks cornerback to record an interception for the team this year. He had 2 of them. But that was only in 14 games played. He also had 2 in 10 games played last year. And so in 2 seasons and about 24 games played, he has 4. He's not exactly a turnover machine, but he also talked about before, he thinks it's a great thing when cornerbacks aren't getting targeted. He thinks that only the special cornerbacks don't get targeted as much. And this isn't a knock on Trevon Diggs, who led the league in picks with 11. We also can't forget about the fact that he allowed almost 1,000 yards to opposing wide receivers or to opposing pass catchers that he covered throughout the year. Trevon Diggs also isn't the run stopper that DJ Reed is. Despite sitting at my height, 5'9" and 193 pounds, DJ Reed plays a lot bigger than what his size might indicate. Amongst all cornerbacks, and according to Pro Football Focus, he finished with 69 solo tackles, 3rd amongst all cornerbacks. And also, according to Pro Football Focus, DJ Reed just finished one spot under Jalen Ramsey in terms of his run defense grade, and that was at 85.8, an astonishing, an absolutely great number, 85.8. And also, according to Pro Football Focus, he was ranked as a top 10 cornerback in all the National Football League, joining the likes of Aj Terrell, Jalen Ramsey, J.C. Jackson. Other DJ Reed statistics are 10 passes defensed, a fumble recovery, 78 total tackles. 78 total tackles. This is a cornerback that we are talking about, and yet on the football field, he could do it all. You could play him in the slot. He could cover and be your nickel back, cover on the inside. You could cover him and have him on the outside. He could diagnose and stop the run. According to Pro Football Focus, 19 stops. 19 stops for a 5'9" cornerback. 5'9". Very physical, plays a lot bigger than his size. He's quite honestly and quite frankly one of the more complete cornerbacks in the National Football League. He's especially sticky in man-to-man coverage. He can hold his own in any sort of zone coverage, zone scheme. And again, in stopping and diagnosing the run, he's one of the very best as he uses his physicality. I think his energy is very contagious and infectious around a team. And here's a couple of statistical nuggets for y'all. He bested Jalen Ramsey in terms of opponent completion percentage in his direction. Jalen Ramsey, according to Pro Football Reference, allowed opposing quarterbacks to complete 59.2% of their passes in his direction. What about DJ Reed, you might ask? 47.7. He barely gave up over 500 yards receiving to opposing pass catchers, and on 88 targets, only gave up 42 completions. I'm gonna say that one more time for y'all. Opposing quarterbacks completed under half of their passes when targeting DJ Reed this past season. If that isn't elite, then I don't know what is. His opponent passer rating allowed was under 70 at 67. And so when you look at some of these metrics, when you look at some of these advanced stats, they really favor him above some of these other guys that were named Pro Bowlers, All Pros. And I'm not, again, I can't reiterate this enough. He's not better than Jalen Ramsey, but because he had a year that was on par or that rivaled Jalen Ramsey, he deserves to have his name in the conversation when talking about some of the up-and-coming cornerbacks in the National Football League. Yes, he missed 3 games, and yes, as a cornerback, you don't have as much of an impact as, let's say, a quarterback when it comes to wins and losses. But in the 3 games that he missed, Seattle went 0-3, with 2 of those losses coming against backup quarterbacks. How awful does that look on a secondary when you're losing to backup quarterbacks? Here's some of the ugly statistics in DJ Reed's absence. 29 completions on 41 targets for 346 yards and 2 touchdowns without DJ Reed. Shout out to Ty Dan Gonzalez of the Seahawks Maven from Sports Illustrated for that statistic right there. But also, from week 4 and on, DJ Reed was the only cornerback in the National Football League with over 400 coverage snaps to not allow a single touchdown. Again, the only quarterback in the National Football League from week 4 on to finish and allow 0 touchdowns on over 400 coverage snaps. Another important nugget, just because I think it's a tremendous accomplishment, a tremendous achievement in and of itself. And this is, we got to rewind and go back in time some, but in DJ Reed's first season with the Seattle Seahawks 2020-2021, in a marquee matchup against Terry McLaurin, he only gave up 2 catches for 7 yards on 5 targets with a pass deflection to boot. There is a track record of him shutting down top tier receivers. There is a track record of him performing and putting up admirable numbers statistically. There is a track record of Seattle's defense suffering without him. So now that that's been established, the Seattle Seahawks have to absolutely re-sign DJ Reed. Seeing as how they're playing in a division as loaded offensively as the NFC West, we're talking about Sean McVay and the Rams, who are currently in the Super Bowl right now. We're talking about Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, who have been in 2 of the last 3 NFC Championship games. We have an Arizona Cardinals team led by Kyler Murray, one of the more dynamic dual-threat quarterbacks in the National Football League. Seattle simply cannot afford to go into 2022-2023 with the cornerback room without DJ Reed. What, Seattle's supposed to rely on Sidney Jones and a bunch of other rookies in the draft? And what, veterans on the free agent market, guys that haven't worked out in their previous destinations, previous stops? That absolutely cannot be the case for Seattle moving forward. DJ Reed is only 25 years old. He must be brought back. I don't care if he's only 5'9", 193 pounds. He's played a lot better than that. He's played a lot bigger than that. And he's been a tremendous element to Seattle's transformation on defense these last couple of years. When you look at some of the things that coincided with Seattle's more competent ability to play defense down the stretch, it coincided with the fact that DJ Reed was playing more man. He talked about how Seattle, as soon as they transitioned to more of a 2-high safety look, they started playing more man. They started getting away from all those soft zones. DJ Reed started playing some of the best football of his career. Seattle has the need. Seattle has the cap space. Seattle usually tends to take care of their own. And yes, Richard Sherman is right. The Seahawks have not had an all-pro since he left town. But you know what they do have? They do have the next all-pro cornerback in Seattle in DJ Reed. And I know there's some factors that could be holding him back from massive payday. Again, a lot of teams might not be sold on that 5'9" height. He doesn't exactly have the pedigree. He was drafted in the 5th round. And before coming to Seattle, he was a relative unknown with the San Francisco 49ers. But the tape don't lie. The numbers don't lie. The Seahawks win-loss record without him does not lie. And so if Seattle is going to be intent on building a team that could contend in the NFC West for years to come, they absolutely must focus on re-signing DJ Reed amongst a horde of other free agents if they're to have any sort of success in the coming years. I want to end it off by saying this. Again, DJ Reed is the best cornerback that you have never heard of, and the Seattle Seahawks are going to be showing the rest of the world, the rest of the NFL world, yet another gem that they have plucked out of the hands of their bitter rival, the San Francisco 49ers. So Seattle, if you're listening, use some of that cap space wisely and bring back DJ Reed. It's really their only hope of being able to cobble together a competent secondary moving forward, and you're gonna need it against these high-flying explosive offenses. Be sure to let your voice be heard down below. Let us know your thoughts. Is DJ Reed a sneaky top 10 candidate at cornerback? Did he play like a top 5 cornerback this past year? Is he the future at cornerback in Seattle? What do you think his next contract looks like? Is it gonna eclipse 10 million plus annually? I think if I had to put a number on it, I really like that contract that Shaquille Griffin got last year for DJ Reed. I think anywhere along the lines of 3 years and 40 million, 3 years and 39 million, averaging about 13 million annually per year. I think that'd be a great number. I think Seattle also has the avenue, the capability of being able to create even more cap space. And so tying up 10 plus million, I know that sounds like a lot, but seeing as how DJ Reed came in, broke the norm. He's 5'9", he's not lanky, he's not 6 feet plus tall, he doesn't have 32 plus inch arms. But like I said, he plays a lot bigger than his size. He plays a lot better than what his size might indicate. And Seattle, Pete Carroll, John Schneider, they can't afford to let this gem go. So again, be sure to let your voice be heard down below. If you guys have any video suggestions, video ideas, let us know below. Or if you want to let us know in private, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SteezySmith. Again, as always, all glory to God. Amen. Nothing but love, y'all. Until next time, Steezy out. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.